Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another ink comparison video, and this is the Monteverde Sweet Life ink comparison. Now this is going to be a two-part video, so I'll do the top 5 inks on this video and then the bottom 5 inks on the second video. So I think with that, let's go and swab up some of these inks. So the first ink is Monteverde and it's Pumpkin Cake. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this, you can see here, is actually quite a nice sort of red colour. So this is quite a dark red, I would say. But as always, let's see how this dries. The next ink is Monteverde Iced Cookie. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you can see that this very much is like a blue iced cookie. Do a second pass, just to show the difference there between a wet and a dry nib. So this is Monteverde and it's iced cookie. That's actually quite a lovely blue, sort of icy bluey colour. The next ink is Monteverde and this is chocolate pudding. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I have to say that this is quite a nice brown ink, although I'm finding it a little bit dry towards the bottom here. Do a second pass. I think this could actually become one of my favourite brown inks. So this is Monteverde. And it's chocolate pudding. But that's actually not a bad brown ink. I think it'll be interesting to see when it's dried. The next ink is Monteverde Cherry Danish. We'll do an ink swatch. So this is more of a cherry colour. Do a second pass. So this is Monteverde and it's Cherry Danish. Which for me is actually quite a nice red ink. I tend to like reds that are a little bit more brighter, and I think this is going to be a nice one. And then the last ink for this video is Monteverde Strawberry Shortcake, which I already have a bottle of, and I really do like this ink. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I did say that I like bright, punchy red inks, and this really is a lovely one. Although this is going on a bit dry here, so let me see if I can saturate that Q-tip a little bit, and then you'll see there this beautiful red ink. So this is Monteverde. And it's strawberry. And it's shortcake. But this for me is a really lovely red ink that I love a lot. To the point that I actually have now 3 bottles of it. So I think let's go and look at these inks in a little bit more detail. So this is Monteverde Pumpkin Cake, And this is a very dark, sort of almost like reddish brown, and this reminds me a little bit of maybe Rouge Hematite from Jehaben, or even Ancient Copper from Diamine. This is actually quite a nice sort of dark coppery colour ink. Now, you do see a little bit of difference between the wet and the dry here. So depending on the type of nib that you're going to put this on, or ink it up in the pen, then you are going to see either a lighter on a dry nib or a more wetter, darker on a wet nib pen. Now, there is a little bit of sheen, and I'm going to see if I can try and get this on camera. There's a slight bit of sheen around here, but it's very, very difficult to see that there. But I think you can just, there you go. You just see that on camera there. There's not a lot of shading, I would say. There's little bits of patches here, especially in the pooled areas where it was a little bit more wetter. You can see that there. The next ink is Monteverde Iced Cookie, and you can definitely see the difference between a wet and a dry nib here. The colour is a lot different. Now, there is a little bit more shading going on here in the pooled areas that you can see. There, I'm just having a look, there is no sheening there, but it is quite a sort of a wet ink that kind of looks as though it wants to sheen. It's just not quite able to sheen. The next ink is a Monteverde Chocolate Pudding. Now, there's a huge difference here between the wet and the dry. Now, the dry, I actually like a little bit more. I like that lighter colour more than the wet. So maybe I would put this in more of a dry writing pen. Now, in terms of shading, there is a little bit of shading going on here on the wet pooled areas, but other than that, not a huge amount. And this is another one that I want to say wants to sort of sheen a little bit, but it's just not really managing to do it. The next ink here is Monteverde Cherry Danish, and this is actually a nice red ink. It's a little bit more on a pastel colour, I would say, certainly on the dry side here. You can see that there are a few little areas of shading, not a huge amount though. It's in the pooled areas, and it, again, I want to say it wants to sheen. I do see a slight discoloration, almost like a sheeny colour, like a little bit of a goldish going on there in that ink, but it's just not coming out. So you can just see like there isn't really any sheening going on there. Shading wise, there's a little bit, but not a huge amount. And then the last ink on this video is Monteverde Strawberry Shortcake, and this is one of my favourites. It's a really nice punchy red ink, so if you like a bright red ink, this is a really good ink. And you can see here between the wet and the dry that there's quite a contrast and difference there. You do see some pooled areas where there is some shading going on. Now, you don't get any sheening either on this ink, but you can see here from the writing sample that is actually a lovely red coloured ink. So that's my Monteverde Sweet Life ink comparison video number 1. If there's any of these inks that you like, then do let me know in the comments below. And likewise, if there are any other Monteverde inks that I haven't checked out yet, then do let me know in the comments below. So this is my Monteverde Sweet Life ink comparison number 1 video. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.